Hello again. We are here today for another February eLounge focused on your finances. That is our monthly theme for February. And today we have Elizabeth Mendoza with us from the Financial Aid Department, and she's going to talk to you about budgeting and how to make your refund last, or I guess you could say how to make the most out of the money that you currently have. So, Elizabeth, I'm going to let you take it away and move us forward.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Mendoza. I'm in the Office of Financial Aid in the ACT Room 201. So we are going to basically talk about the basics of budgeting today. And so we're just going to go ahead and get started. That way we'll have time for plenty of questions after the presentation. And thank you for attending. Okay, everyone, so this is a part of our financial wellness curriculum, this presentation, which goes over the budgeting process. It is a presentation that is brought to you by the Philadelphia Higher Education Association that's been contracted by the Department of Education, and they also sponsor a completely free website called youcandealwithit.com that we will reference in our presentation. So these are our objectives, misconceptions, and truths. Our goals, our incomes, expenses, and then also creating a budget. So some misconceptions that we like to touch on are that budgeting will allow a student to enjoy life or spend money on fun things and can be unrealistic and restricting, and that they are set in stone. What makes a good budget successful is that it is not set in stone, that it flows with you as your life and also your priorities change. And I wouldn't necessarily say that budgets can't be fun or that you can't enjoy your life. Actually, not budgeting can actually lead to a lot of stress over whether or not you're going to have money at the end of the month or afford to pay for things that you need to pay for, and that is not fun. It is also a necessary part of managing your money. You can basically be financially independent before you graduate from college, which is a great thing. And again, it is also less stressful. So instead of worrying about graduating and how you're going to afford to pay for everything, for your cost of living, you know, with money from your job, you can actually focus on the important things that come with graduating, your new job, excitement of starting something new, possibly moving to a new city, getting settled in basically what is going to be a new life for you after you graduate. Also, when it comes to budgeting, it's going to help you manage and prevent any additional debt or debt that you may have accrued, you know, up to this point. And also, we're going to talk about paying yourself by balancing your spending and saving money. And also our goals. And when we talk about goals, of course, we're not going to deny that we're going to have, you know, larger purchases in the future like a car or a home. So we hope to help you by understanding budgeting to help you in the future plan ahead for your bigger purchases such as a car or a home. So think about what you want out of life. Is it a new car? Is it a house? Is it to pay for your wedding? Then you also want to think about how much money you're going to earn in the future. So take a look at or research what your major is and what the jobs are. And you can do this at youcandealwithit.com, what the average salary is for someone in your profession, or you can ask someone in your profession. Just, you know, if you have a family friend or if you come into contact with someone during an internship, you can just basically say, hey, can I just have a frank conversation with you about, you know, what your take-home pay was like when you first got out of college. Usually people in your profession are more than willing to talk to you about that because they really want to help, you know, young people avoid some of the missteps that they may have had when they first started out. And then again, what are your expenses? How much money do you spend? And also, where can you not spend so much money, just kind of going through that process of thinking about things like that. So goals. Short term, we define that as 3 months to 1 year, so that may be buying a car, going to study abroad, things like that. Your long terms are within 2 to 5 years, so graduation. What will you do after graduation? Where will you live? Do you plan on moving to another city or a larger city like New York, for example, or possibly Los Angeles or San Francisco? So those are some examples of longer term goals. Or if you like long engagements, a long-term goal may be a wedding in the future. Think about your sources of income. If you have a large family, for example, you may get a lot of graduation money. How are you going to budget that money? Are you going to go out and spend it on graduation night, on fun, or are you going to save that and help that with your travel expenses if you have to relocate for your new job, which can be another source of income? Hopefully your new job after graduation will pay you more than the job that you have now. If it doesn't, maybe think about a second or a part-time job, or maybe you're just someone that likes to keep busy and you know you're going to want to have a second job or a part-time job because that's just the type of person you are. So what are you going to do with that income from your primary job or your second job? And then a part of that, when you're preparing for graduating from college, is determining how much money you have saved so far. So for those of you underclassmen and you haven't started saving money, now's a good time to start thinking about that. And then again, we just talked briefly about determining how much you expect to earn. Again, you can research those professions online that you're interested in. Just keep in mind that when you go online, the salaries that you're being provided are gross salaries. It doesn't include anything taken out like taxes or insurance. To get that information, you're definitely going to want to talk to someone in your profession. Where's your money going? Think about your rent or your mortgage and taxes, all that good stuff, your needs, your food, utilities, transportations, and then yes, unfortunately, if you've borrowed loans while you're in college, you're going to have to think about how much of your income is going to go towards a student loan repayment. And you can actually dial up your lender, this afternoon and talk to them about the average cost of what you've borrowed so far that you could expect to pay if you were to, say, entering repayment tomorrow. And they would gladly, that's basically their job, so they would gladly have that conversation with you about repayment and monthly repayment based on what you've borrowed so far. And then there are things that you also need that you may not think about it, where your money is going towards, such as clothing, entertainment. We tend not to think about that as an expense, but it really is because you are obviously spending money on clothing and entertainment. And then also your credit cards and other debts, which you may start relying on to pay for things that you're unable to pay for out of your own pocket, out of your checking account or your savings account. Things like clothing and entertainment, for example. You want to evaluate and track your spending. There are really good apps out there. Sometimes you can get an app with your bank that will help you evaluate and track your spending. It'll give you a notification and update you on your what's in your current checking account every time you make a purchase. That's going to let you know where your money is going. So how much is it going on eating out and social activities, your personal experience, or how much are you putting into a savings account, or how much is going into your clothing budget, for example. Are you a clothes horse? Do you buy clothing all the time that maybe you don't need to? So things like that, it is going to help you. And if you're not that type of person where you do everything on your smartphone, then just start writing things down and start with the week and write everything down that you spend on during the week, and at the end of the week categorize it into social activities, living expenses, savings, and just kind of, so that way you know where your money is going, and that's going to help you create a budget. Now, we also like for you to start thinking of this as a spending plan and not just simply as a budget. Most people think of a budget as prohibiting yourself not to spend money, but that's not really the case. Reality is you're going to spend money. So if you think about your budget as a spending plan, that actually may help you. And again, If you are not the smartphone kind of person and you like to do things by paper and you collect your receipts, don't just collect your receipts and have them, laying around your car or your office or your home. Gather them together and start writing down everything. So how much money you get from the ATM, and of that money you got from the ATM, how much and where did you spend it? And also gather and keep every bill that you pay, utilities, credit card bills, things like that, and write everything down if you're not going to use an expense tracker. Or you can put it into Excel if you're a PC kind of person and you like doing things that way. And you really want to consider how much of your income you can actually put into a savings account by determining how much you're spending each week or every 2 weeks, or if you get paid a month every month. Because the more you save, the more money you're going to have in the future for any sort of emergencies or potentially retirement. And again, when you're thinking about your long-term goals specifically, the more you have in savings, the more likely it is for you to reach your long-term goals with the more savings that you have. And referencing again the Philadelphia Higher Education website, which is youcandealwithit.com, they have a budget calculator out here. So it is a very helpful tool. So it is one of the things that you can use to help you evaluate and track your spending. So again, talking about tools, again, these are some apps that you can download to your smartphone. If you do everything on your smartphone, or you just want to evaluate and track your spending on your smartphone, basically here on this page is a list of really good apps that we found. And these are available in our office in AC2 room 201, or you can email finaid@twu.edu. That's the financial aid email. You can email our assistant, Lindsay Partridge, and she can email this list of tools back to you if you are really interested in downloading one of these and giving one of them a try. And I really recommend doing that, because you take your phone everywhere. You don't always take your PC everywhere. You're not always going to have your pencil and your pad. So having a smartphone and evaluating and tracking it on your smartphone is a really important and valuable tool. A day in the life. Thinking about what you are spending and what you could be spending is really important. So for example, what we've done here is we're comparing eating out to eating in. If you buy one muffin and a cup of coffee, on average that's going to cost you $6. It could cost you more if you're the type of person that likes to get really specialized drinks, for example. Or if you like to go to a coffee bar and you're actually going to combine your cocktail with your muffin, for example, it's going to cost you more, obviously. But thinking about how much it's going to cost if you actually got your muffin and your coffee at your grocery store. So basically eating out in one day, doing breakfast and lunch and maybe a drive-through meal for dinner, it's a total of $24 with your average price per meal is $8. And that's just in a day. But if you actually tried to do everything and get everything from the grocery store, invest in Tupperware or maybe plastic bags and take it with you, have a cup for water instead of buying water in a plastic bottle, that's really going to save you, because it's almost half. Your average cost per day by buying your food in a grocery store and taking it with you is $15, and the average price per meal is $5. So annually, you are looking at a savings of $3,285. Now, if you think, oh, but I can afford $24 a day to eat out and it's more convenient for me, think about it this way. By eating in and taking your food with you, that annual savings of $3,285, you could be putting that in a savings account. And when you put things in a savings account, it's earning interest. And then you're earning interest on interest, and that's paying yourself. So you can really take this reality of paying interest on a credit card or on a student loan, and you can reverse that and use it to pay yourself by putting money in a savings account. So that's what I would recommend, that if you are the type that eats out, you can afford to eat out, and you do it all the time, reverse that thinking, start eating in, and use that money that you would have spent on eating out and save it. So basically we're at the end, and we've covered our objectives, and then I just urge you to create your spending plan or your budget, and that's going to really assist you basically with not only your short-term goals, but especially with those long-term goals. And if you don't have long-term goals yet, start thinking about your long-term goals, because you really don't want long-term goals like buying a house to become a short-term goal. So anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I'm looking at some of our things that are working. My question for you, Elizabeth, is, all right, we got the eLounge, we got this information. If you were going to give us like one thing that we could do today that would help us get on the right path with budgeting, what would you recommend?
Track your spending. Definitely. Because once you start tracking your spending and know how much you're spending, it's going to give you a clearer picture on if you're using your money to spend on those things that you need or to spend on those things that you want.
Okay, great. And then my other question is, do we have anyone on campus that will walk students through these types of projects, or is that something where you have the resources and we can provide that as an option, but there's not really a physical person that does this kind of work?
Right. Not many students actually know this, but in the Office of Student Financial Aid, we have appointments that students can schedule with a counselor 5 days a week. So they take appointments beginning at 8:15, and the last appointment we schedule is at 3:45 that day. So at any time they can, schedule an appointment. If they want a phone appointment, they just need to request that this appointment be by phone and give their phone number so that the counselor can call them at the appointed time. And we can definitely assist with budgeting. And we can also, with those who can't make it into the office, we can email, such as the list of Budgeting 101 tools. And we can also email loads of worksheets and information sheets about saving money. And so if that doesn't, if that's not something that can assist a person because, they're just not close enough and they don't like doing things by email and by phone, typically in every city there is a non-profit credit agency that will assist anyone for free. They give workshops, for example, and Learning Tree is a good example of a non-profit credit agency that basically opens their doors to assist people in fixing their credit, budgeting, or giving workshops on buying cars or buying home loans.
Great, thank you very much. And we don't have any questions in the chat box yet, Elizabeth, but I'm thinking of myself here and getting budget information. There's so many great resources and great opportunities, but at the same time I can also feel that sense of being overwhelmed by how many options you have. And I'm just thinking, like, if we were going to come up with like 3 key takeaways that students can do right now as an undergraduate student or as a student who, only has a part-time job and maybe taking out loans, what are 3 really good things that they can make sure that they start doing now that will affect them positively in the future?
Track your spending. Save money when at all possible and put it in the savings account and just basically don't touch it. Try not to borrow credit cards and buy things on credit. Those are basically the 3 really good things to do. I would say that with credit cards, what a lot of students end up doing is instead of borrowing a student loan, because students tend to panic about borrowing loans, they start charging things on a credit card. But the interest on a student loan is much, much cheaper than the interest on a credit card. So if you have questions or concerns about loan borrowing, again, we have appointments and we are available to sit down and talk to you and give you a comparison between borrowing a student loan versus paying for things on credit cards. And then if I could add a fourth thing they could do today, if a student is already a loan borrower, if they could just keep track of the loans they are borrowing up to this point. And there is a federal website to track federal student loans, and that's the National Student Loan Database System. And any student can log on to check their federal loan history at any time.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I really appreciate all the information that you're giving today. And for those of you that are watching live, thank you for watching live. Please make sure that you put your TW email address in the chat box so we can make sure that you're eligible for a prize today. And then for those of you who are watching this recording, I want you to know that you can always connect with us, the CARE office, or with financial aid directly to make sure that you get this kind of information. And let us know if you want more things like this, because we are here for you. We're trying to make these things available to you as students because this is the information that you are asking for. So if we're not hitting the points that you want, or you want a little bit more information on student loan repayment or how to make the most out of your budget, like long-term goals, how to set those goals. These are kind of things that we can do for you, but we need to know that that is what you want. So without further ado, thank you everyone for being a part of today. I'm just making sure we don't have any more questions, and we do not. But come and see us every week. We're doing this every week on eLounge. This month is financial fitness themed, and then next month we'll have a different theme with different kinds of topics. So thank you again everyone who attended today, and have a great Wednesday.